Hi, hello, good day. I am the one who will be discussing these two topics, the ecological system theory and the broken windows theory, and how does they influence or trigger someone to commit a crime. Our major topics, the outline of discussion, the ecological system theory, the five environmental system, the effect of this theory to human development, and broken windows theory, and its effect to crime rate. And before we start, I am praying that God guide us in this discussion and let me be His way to give a lot of information and knowledge about this topic that may help every one of you. Again, I am the one who will be discussing this topic, the reporter of the day, Angel A. Abbas from BSC 1-1. So before we start, let's have an icebreaker. You just have to write or think something that have a great impact to your life decision. One thing you consider before you decide. Example, family, friend, life status, or the situation you are in today. And then after the discussion, we will be going back to. Then I want to give a motivational quote from Martin Luther King Jr. Morality cannot be legislated, but behavior can be regulated. Judicial decree may not change the heart, but they can restrain the heartless. The law cannot make an employer love an employee, but it can prevent him from refusing to hire me because of the color of my skin. The relevance of this topic, it can help everyone to understand the possible happenings in our community that will make them know how to live with it. So without further ado, let's start with ecological system theory. It is otherwise known as human ecology theory that states that human development is influenced by the different types of environmental system. So if you are asking what are those, you can see in the figure we have five environmental systems that later on will be discussed one by one. But before that, let us all know who is the man behind this theory. And he is Yuri Bronfenbrenner, a famous psychologist. He is the one who formulated this theory that help us understand why we may behave differently when we are with our families and when we are in school or at work. And then the five environmental system is the microsystem, the mesosystem, the exosystem, the macrosystem, and the chronosystem. According to the ecological system theory, we experience various settings throughout our lives that influence our behavior to variable degree. So what we experience in our life can influence or affect our life. Let's start with the microsystem. Its setting is a direct environment we have in our lives. The setting in which we have direct social interaction with these social agents. Who are those social agents? They are our family, our friends, our classmates, our neighbors, and other people who we have direct interactions, or they are simply the people who surround us and we have mostly interact with. Then the mesosystem. It involves the relationship between the microsystem in one's life. This means that your family experience may be related to your school experience. Like what we saw in this figure or in these pictures, we saw that, for example, if a child is neglected by his family or his parents in the home, he can have a low chance of developing positive attitude toward his teacher at school. So, a negative experience or situation at home can be brought or bring in the school that can affect the child's interaction with his teachers, his classmates, and everyone. The next is the exosystem. The setting in which there is a link between the context wherein the person does not have any active role and the context wherein is actively participating. So here, for example, what we saw in this picture, suppose a child is more attached to his father and his father need to go abroad to work. There is a two possibility that can lead to it. First, they may have or they may be a conflict between the mother and the child's social relationship, or on the other hand, this event may cause them or result to tighter bond between the mother and the child. Next is the macro system. Its setting is the actual culture of an individual. The cultural context involves the socio-economic status of the person and or his family, his ethnicity or race, and living in a still developing or a third world country. Here, for example, being born to poor family makes a person work harder every day. Sometimes in a negative part, in a negative side, if you are born to a poor family, you will think to commit a crime to be able to sustain your daily needs. And the last one is the chrono system. It includes the transition and shift in one's lifespan. This may also involve the social historical context that may influence a person. Like what we saw in the picture, one classic example of this is how divorce as a major life transition. It may affect not only the couple's relationship or the one who get married, but also their children's behavior. That's why sometimes those children who commit a crime is the one who have a broken family. So the effect of ecological system theory to human development. A child development is a complex system of relationship influenced by several layers of the surrounding environment, ranging from intimate home and school settings to broad societal values, laws, and practices. Human development is dependent on several types of environmental systems. So we human develop when we start understanding our surroundings, and we also know that the family have a big impact in the development and the behavior of the children. So
So
now we will be discussing about the broken windows theory. This theory was first studied by Philip Zimbardo and introduced by George Gilling and James Wilson. Holds that any visible sign of crime and civil disorder such as vandalism, loitering, public drinking, jaywalking, and transportation fare evasion create an urban environment that encourage even more crime and disorder. Those criminal activities should be prosecuted as a result. So for example, jaywalking. Someone saw that there were people doing jaywalking and no one tried to stop them, no one approached them and say that it is wrong. So they thought it was okay, and because someone else did it, they will do it also. So that encouraged them to even commit the same crime or disorder. So this is the three people in Broken Windows theory. We have Philip Zimbardo, an American psychologist, George Killing, an American criminologist, and James Wilson, an American political scientist. So, a broken windows theory. Their theory goes on to say that the presence of disorder instills fears in individuals who are convinced that the place is dangerous. This disengagement from the community destroys social constraints that were previously used to keep criminals in check. Once started, this process feeds on itself. Disorder leads to crime, and crime leads to further disorder and crime. So let's all find out what are the two types of disorder. We have physical disorder and a social disorder. Physical disorder is typified by the vacant buildings, broken windows, abandoned vehicles, and vacant lots filled with trash. It is more likely a location, a settings, a things that is already abandoned. And then the social disorder is it is typified by aggressive panhandler. Panhandler is the one in the street that asking for food or money to the people, and the noisy neighbors, a group of youth congregating on street corner like what you saw in the pictures. So let's all proceed to broken windows theory effect to crime rate. Broken windows theory had an enormous impact on police policy throughout the 1990s and remained influential into the 21st century. Perhaps the most notable application of the theories was in New York City under the direction of Police Commissioner William Bratton. He and the other were convinced that the aggressive order maintenance practice of the New York City Police Department were responsible for the dramatic decrease of a crime rate within the city during the 1990s. So, the aggressive order maintenance practice is an expansive set of strategies used by the law enforcement to proactively control disorder and strictly punish all levels of deviance behavior. The broken windows theory, according to Killing and Wilson, proposed that if you could reduce minor crime, you will likely see a reduction in major crime as well. So a common motivation is that the existence of even low-level offenses implies that an area is not well controlled, so which in turn will lead to people committing more serious crime. So the idea of reducing minor crime first and then af- after is the major crime, it will help or it will leave an idea to people to not commit a crime anymore. So broken windows policing attempt to regulate low-level crime in order to avert broader problem. If minor crimes are drastically decreased, neighborhood will appear to be better cared for. And then the hope is that if visible signs of disorder and neglect are minimized, violent crimes will decrease as well, resulting to a drop in crime and an increase to public safety. So let's go back to our icebreaker. Whatever you write, it is your family, your friends, the life status, and the situation you're in. I just want to say that they may influence you, but you should know the right thing to do. Know the consequence of your decision and be responsible to it. Again, I am your reporter, Angel E. Abbas, and this ends our discussion for today. Thank you.